Unbelievable details of Sinwar's death were just released in an incredible video about the autopsy of his death. Definitely worth watching. Check out this CNN report.
Turning to our world lead now, you're looking at newly released video from the Israel Defense Forces showing a tank firing at the building in Rafah where Hamas leader and October 7th mastermind Yahya Sinwar was killed. And now we're getting new information calling into question the IDF's initial claim that tank fire delivered the fatal blow. CNN's Jeremy Diamond is in Tel Aviv for us. CNN's MJ Lee's here in D.C. And Jeremy, you talked with Israel's chief pathologist who did the autopsy on the body of Yahya Sinwar. What did you learn?
Well, Jake, the official line has been that tank shell that was fired at that building where Sinwar was already injured was what dealt the fatal blow and ultimately killed the mastermind of the October 7th attacks. But I spoke to the chief pathologist who actually carried out the autopsy himself on Sinwar's body just yesterday, and he told me that he was killed by a bullet to the head.
The cause of death is gunshot wound in the head. He has a bullet in his head and there is a severe traumatic brain injury. He has injury from other sources like a missile injury in his right forearm, a fallen masonry on his left leg or thigh, and many shrapnels that entered his body, but only in the chest they caused the severe damage. But the cause of death is the gunshot wound in the head.
And Jake, Dr. Kugel told me that he is very confident in his assessment, which he reached before being told by the Israeli military what their version of events was. The Israeli military, for their part, told me that they believe that there was an exchange of gunfire and that this battle ultimately ended with this tank shell being fired into the building. But they are still looking into the details of exactly what happened. But certainly this, Jake, is raising more questions.
And Jeremy, the chief pathologist, also told you how they were able to confirm that the body was absolutely Sinwar's. Using a finger?
That's right, Jake. There were actually images of Sinwar's body in the rubble yesterday, some of them where he had his left index finger and others where it appeared to have been cut off. And Dr. Kugel actually confirmed for me that that finger was indeed cut off and sent to Israel before Sinwar's body was used for DNA identification. Listen.
They have a suspicion that this is a Yahya Sinwar, and they sent a sample, a finger, that they cut from his body in order to make the DNA profile. And after the laboratory here made the profile, we compared it with the profile that Sinwar had in the term that he was serving here as a prisoner. So then we could identify him finally by his DNA. After the final identification, then the body arrived here at about 9:30 yesterday.
What percentage of certainty do you have based on that DNA analysis?
100%.
100%.
Yes.
So an incredible report. Again, I mean, the comments on that video are basically, he's dead. And the autopsy were confirmed that he's, in fact, dead. And he was actually eliminated by some reservists, some young, supposedly, or engaged at least by IDF soldiers that were relatively young, 19, 18, just entered the army. An incredible story. Seems like a lot of the initial reports that it was his tooth that was the one that was, sort of confirmed that it was him. Seems like this contradicts that. So it was his finger. Either way, he is dead as a doorknob, dead as nails. So here's the IDF's official report after the death of Yahya Sinwar.
Behind the October, the IDF recently confirmed that Yahya Sinwar, the leader of Hamas and the face of evil behind the October 7th massacre, was killed in Rafah. Tonight, we are declassifying footage of Sinwar from just a few hours before the October 7th massacre, as well as his movements inside Gaza as he fled over the past year. Yahya Sinwar spent years planning the October 7th attack. Each step was planned to maximize harm to Israeli and Gazan civilians and to minimize harm to himself and other terrorists. See for yourselves. This is a footage of Sinwar just hours before the October 7th massacre, where Sinwar was hiding his family and equipment, including beds, pillows, food, and water, and a television. He was hiding it inside Hamas underground tunnel network. He was doing that all night alone with his family in order to keep his position classified. It was all happening in Khan Yunis. This was a luxury that the people of Gaza did not have. Sinwar always prioritized himself, his money, and Hamas terrorists over the people of Gaza. While hiding in the tunnels of Khan Yunis, Sinwar ordered the October 7th attack to begin. After they invaded Israel, Sinwar's army of terrorists murdered families, raped women, and kidnapped men, women, children, and babies into Gaza. 101 of these hostages are still held in Gaza after a year in captivity under ruthless conditions. Throughout the war that Sinwar started, he continued to hide underneath the people of Gaza. In Khan Yunis in February, our troops found supplies meant for a long stay in Sinwar's underground hideout, including a lot of money, food, beds, documents, a shower, and a kitchen. Then IDF operations in Khan Yunis forced Sinwar to flee to Rafah. Last month, Sinwar's DNA was found on a piece of tissue he used. A few hundred meters from a tunnel where 6 Israeli hostages were brutally executed in Tel Sultan in Rafah. Then Sinwar fled yet again. While Sinwar was running for his life and went above the ground, this was the first and last time that he encountered Israeli soldiers in a combat. Sinwar was eliminated by the IDF in Rafah last Wednesday. I want to emphasize it again. This was the first and last time he encountered Israeli soldiers, and he was eliminated. There were no hostages with Sinwar when he was eliminated. Killing Sinwar is the result of a year of operational and intelligence efforts to bring him and other Hamas leaders to justice. Sinwar has been eliminated, but our mission is not over. We will not rest until we bring all our hostages home by any means possible, and we will continue to defend the people of Israel from all threats on all of our borders. Thank you.
All right, so that was the IDF's